Hi everybody, how are you? Happy almost Memorial Day. It was not good weather today. The sun came out for a little bit and then it started raining again. So not good, but I have some stories to tell you about today. We're going to talk about an upstate New York man, who pled guilty to a murder for hire of his romantic rival, and that included a sting operation where an FBI agent pretended to be a pig farmer in Pennsylvania because his big plan was to feed the romantic rival to the pigs. So we're going to talk about that. Then there's a Texas doctor sentenced to 10 years for falsely diagnosing patients. The reason he did this was to fuel his extravagant lifestyle. And in that same vein, a California attorney convicted of embezzling about $9 million of her client's money to fuel her Las Vegas gambling addiction. So we have all that to talk about. I want to make sure that I'm live, so let me do that. And find the live. It's Memorial Day. It was not good weather today. So here we are. Okay. I don't think notifications went out yet, but we will see. Let's see. Let me just check over here before we get started. Okay. So, hopefully, we'll hear some people coming in. Okay. Hi there, Tree Dog. How are you? How's it going? Did you just get a notification? Because I don't think the notifications are going out. Not according to my analytics. They're saying that I think less than 1% are getting notifications, which I will tell you, the best thing you can do is unsubscribe, resubscribe, make sure you click the bell for all notifications. Do that again, because a lot of our people keep saying they're not getting any notifications. And I know it's a holiday weekend, yada, 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 but, and then I uploaded two videos today, and a lot of times when you do that, YouTube holds back on the third notification. So, but I think some people are finally seeing that we're live, so I'm just going to start and we'll just take it from there. So let's go with I'm going to start with this lawyer, this California attorney. Let me get her picture up there. Come on, Mrs. Attorney, let's put that up there. What's going on here? What is going on? There we go. Okay, so this is Sarah Jacqueline King, 41 years old. She was sentenced to 21 months in federal prison on May 5th. And that was because she was convicted of embezzling $8.7 million of her client's money. She did this to fuel her gambling habit in Las Vegas. So on May 5th, Sarah Jacqueline King was sentenced to 21 months in federal prison. She pled guilty to wire fraud and money laundering. She was also ordered to pay $8,785,045 in restitution. She's a Newport Beach attorney, or was, and she recruited investors under the business name King Family Lending, LLC. She would facilitate short-term loans to celebrities, professional athletes, and other high net worth individuals secured by the borrower's own assets in a fraud scheme that lasted between January 2022 and January of 2023. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Central California said after it filed charges against King in 2023 that she never initiated or funded any loan. Instead, she used the funds to gamble at a Las Vegas casino and support her lavish lifestyle. In a separate civil lawsuit by LDR International Limited of the British Virgin Islands, King was accused of borrowing 97 loans amounting to $10.2 million from the company from January to October of 2022. She spent the majority of the funds loaned by the plaintiff to King Lending to gamble in Las Vegas and fund an extravagant lifestyle and for other personal uses. Plaintiff is informed and believes that King moved into the Wynn in Las Vegas, the resort and hotel. She lived there for 6 months and gambled 24/7. Yeah. In the court filings, it's alleged that her ex-husband, Kamran Abbas Vahid, pressured her to gamble the loan funds to earn the money she owed LDR International. She blew $8.7 million on lavish spending and gambling in Las Vegas, losing $6 to $7 million at the Wynn Las Vegas resort while living there. She also admitted that she spent $132,156 of investor money on a Porsche Taycan electric sports car. Yeah, and I guess she also bought a dog. I feel like we've talked about her before with the dog. Okay. Her attorney, Sam Cross, said that she suffered from a Xanax addiction, and she consumed 10 drinks a day while gambling in Las Vegas to maintain her lifestyle. Well, it sounds like she was not only had a gambling addiction, she had a drug addiction, and was an alcoholic. Seems like that to me. But what do I know, right? To maintain her lifestyle. She has since put herself into a rehabilitation facility, according to the attorney. A rehabilitation facility. She will report to prison on July 14th and will have to complete 3 years of supervised release after her release from prison. A former client of hers, Yumiko Sturdivant, said, "Let me tell you, she didn't only steal from a billionaire. She stole from a normal person like me. What she has done is evil, and there is no way she can get out of this." Okay. Somebody left a comment and said, "With all due respect, gambling 24/7 drunk is indicative of a sickness. She sounds sick. Not that she shouldn't pay, but if that's not addictive behavior, what is?" Okay. Hang on a moment. I want to get something else on this. Moment right here. She was dubbed Lady Mafia, and she first made headlines in 2023 after she was accused of swindling millions of investors and friends to bankroll her luxurious lifestyle that was filled with designer goods, jewelry, fast cars, luxury hotels, and a high-rolling gambling habit. The U.S. District Judge David O'Carter said, and I quote, "This is a lot of money. There has always been a tremendous sense of betrayal." Victim said she would regularly boast of her high-profile connections, with photos later emerging of her posing alongside celebrities, including NFL stars Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. She was also caught on camera splashing her ill-gotten gains on a months-long gambling spree at the exclusive $300 a night Wynn Resort in Sin City, subsequently sharing photos of wads of cash and designer goods on social media. Her defense attorney told the court that alcohol, drugs, and gambling issues played a significant role, both physically and emotionally, in isolating her from loved ones and driving her towards the multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Okay, let's see. Her attorney said she has been humbled. She has lost everything. She has to rebuild from nothing at the age of 41. She is really starting from zero. What's going on with her husband? I want to know what's going on with her husband. Where's her stuff? Okay, what's going on with that? Where was her husband in all this? What does he do? I wonder. Let's see here. On Monday, the first assistant U.S. attorney, Jennifer Weyer, said that in a separate case, King helped the government convict a man named John McCabe, who scammed a 78-year-old Irvine man out of nearly $2 million. However, that U.S. Attorney Jennifer also pointed out that even after pleading guilty, King referred to herself as Lady Mafia during a bombshell podcast appearance in November, which was her first since the arrest. Speaking to the host, Michelle McPhee, she boasted how she could sell anything, even fire, to the devil, and delighted in her Lady Mafia nickname. I love everything Mafia. I've always been fascinated by the Mafia because I love power moves. I always try to be the girl at the guy's table. During the podcast, King revealed that she had become bored with life as a lawyer and was seeking something more lucrative. She said, and I quote, "I was looking for a way out of law. Law was so miserable. I hate being a lawyer. It makes no money whatsoever. So let me invest. I need to make money." Oh, boy. Let's see. Then she claimed, this is why she claimed she launched a company called King Family Lending in 2018, which is when her elaborate scheme began. It was brazen, said that other lawyer of King's scam on Monday. It went on for a long time. The defendant is a lawyer. She had the trust of the public. In a letter to the court, one of the defrauded investors, who had been a friend of King's husband, accused her of weaponizing her legal expertise to destroy the lives of those who trusted her. The investor claimed that King sent fake documents, including doctored photos of cars and luxury watches, to create a false sense of security and legitimacy. "This wasn't a mistake," the investor wrote in the letter. "It was an elaborate, sustained scheme built on lie after lie. What she did took planning, effort, and cold disregard for the damage it would cause. She took not only my money, but my peace, my trust in others, and my ability to feel safe in my relationships." The high-flying attorney's jaw-dropping lifestyle and secret non-stop gambling habits began unraveling when she was first hit with a federal lawsuit in 2023, which accused her of conning a lender out of more than $10 million. Well, LDR International, a British-based lender, dragged King to court through Santa Ana U.S. District Court, accusing her of a breach of contract, fraud, and outright theft. The lender was one of several firms to repeatedly funnel funds into the 41-year-old's personal account. While in court back in 2023, prosecutors laid bare how King accepted the cash through her Newport-based LLC, King Family Lending, which she ran in addition to her post as a partner at King Rubin Law Firm in L.A. Federal officials say she used this company to recruit investors to fund business loans between January 2022 and 2023, and would use her looks and charm to hobnob with celebrities as a way to inspire trust. The company provided short-term loans, again, like we heard, to celebrities, etc., and she emptied her bank account to fund her wild lifestyle, gambling so much that she even became known as the Slot Whisperer. But why was she known as the Slot Whisperer if she's losing everything? Okay, that doesn't mean that's weird. She's losing. In order to secure each loan, King provided LDR with fraudulent title documents, appraisals, photographs, and contracts, along with fake proof of funding through cashier's checks that had borrowers' names redacted. One photo showed the attorney posing with notable NFL stars like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen at a high-profile golf event that was held at the Wynn last summer. She met them while living there for 6 months and blowing $7 million in the ritzy resort casino, 24/7 gambling. It was during this time that investors claimed that most of her funds were drained. After being served with the 2023 suit, the once high-flying lawyer sent photos of her own bank account that showed she only had $11.98 to her name, a result of the hard partying binge at the $300 a night hotel. The suit charged that a cooperating witness spotted King gambling at another casino on the Strip days after being hit with the federal fraud filing, and even contained a photo as proof. In May of 2023, King secured a $195,000 loan with photos of 3 watches, including a pricey royal oak with a rose gold band. Let's see here. Her ex-husband, now he's her ex-husband, right? Cameron Pahlavi said that most of the vehicles she claimed, which included a $410,000 Rolls Royce, were cars she took pictures of while in Las Vegas or at luxury rental car stores not far from the hotel. Lawyers for the lending service would also provide proof of nearly 100 short-term loans carried out by King, as well as high-value assets she put up to secure them, most often than not luxury items such as designer handbags, jewelry, and a collectible comic book that was valued at $25,000. Other items allegedly made up by King included a $400,000 tiara, a yacht, and a $450,000 1961 Aston Martin. Lawyers said King had never been in possession of any of those things. Additionally, the lawsuit stated that several of the 97 loans were to be backed by guaranteed contracts garnered from professional athletes. In July of 2023, King ultimately admitted to causing 5 investors, including LDR, to lose more than $8 million and said she had withdrawn approximately $132,156 of investor money to purchase the Porsche. Roughly $7 million of that money was said to be spent at the casino back in 2022. Oh boy. Oh, let's see. King, in her own filing, claimed that her now estranged husband would be there as she played in the high-limit slot rooms in Las Vegas. The former attorney said he would then collect her winnings after hitting a large jackpot. In court on Monday, the U.S. District Judge Carter cited the large monetary loss for King's trusted investors and denied a defense request for a shorter prison sentence. Crazy, right? Let me go in here and see where you guys are. Hi, easily distracted. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Debbie D. What do you think of that? You lose more than you win at the casinos. Is that what you call the pokies? Yeah, I'm not interested in that. What's up tonight? Where's all our peeps? Where's all our people? Did you guys get notifications? Hold on 1 minute. Let me just... I'm just trying to see if our people are getting notifications, because that's weird. Weird. All right. Let me go on. Hi, One Eye Blind Dart. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next story. The next story is going to be about the Texas doctor who he did something similar, well, fraud, but he was falsely diagnosing patients to fuel his lavish lifestyle. So let's get him on here. There we go. Dr. George Zamora Quezada was found guilty of falsely diagnosing his patients with rheumatoid arthritis and billing their insurance companies for procedures and tests they didn't need. He was found guilty of fraud for doing this and sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. So let's look at the press release from the U.S. Department of Justice. Pull this over. A Texas rheumatologist was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 3 years of supervised release for perpetrating a healthcare fraud scheme involving over $118 million in false claims and the payment of over $28 million by insurers as a result of him falsely diagnosing patients with chronic illnesses to bill for tests and treatments that the patients did not need. The doctor, 68 years old, of Mission, Texas, also falsified patient records to support the false diagnoses after receiving a federal grand jury subpoena. Following a 25-day trial, the doctor was convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and 7 counts of healthcare fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. In addition to his prison term, he was ordered to forfeit $28,245,454, including 13 real estate properties, a jet, and a Maserati Gran Turismo. According to the evidence that was presented at trial, the doctor falsely diagnosed his patients with rheumatoid arthritis, and he administered toxic medication in order to defraud Medicare and Medicaid, TRICARE, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. The fraudulent diagnoses made the defendant's patients believe they had a lifelong incurable condition that required regular treatment at his offices. After falsely diagnosing his patients, the doctor administered unnecessary treatments and ordered unnecessary testing on them, including a variety of injections, infusions, x-rays, MRIs, and other procedures, all with potential harmful and even deadly side effects. To receive payment for these expensive services, the doctor fabricated medical records and lied about the patient's conditions to the insurers. The doctor funded his luxurious lifestyle for 20 years by traumatizing his patients, abusing his employees, lying to insurers, and stealing taxpayer money, said Matthew Gagliotti, the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. His depraved conduct represents a profound betrayal of trust towards vulnerable patients who depend on care and integrity from their doctors. Today's sentence is not just a punishment, it's a warning. Medical professionals who harm Americans for personal enrichment will be aggressively pursued and held accountable to protect our citizens and the public. Yeah, okay? It only took 20 years to catch him. Bravo. Okay? Through the false diagnoses and excessive false billing, the doctor abused both patient trust and public resources, said Special Agent in Charge Jason Meadows of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Inspector General. It is imperative to investigate and address this form of fraud, not only to protect vulnerable individuals from harm, but to uphold the integrity of the federal health care system and safeguard the use of public funds. The FBI is dedicated to working with all of our partners to address healthcare fraud, and, said the Special Agent in Charge, Aaron Tapp of the FBI's San Antonio field office, this case was not only a concern to us because of the financial loss, the physical and emotional harm suffered by the patients and their family was alarming and profound. Yeah, for 20 years. We hope this significant sentence will help bring closures to the many victims in this case. Evidence at trial established that the doctor falsely diagnosed patients in order to defraud insurers and enrich himself. Other rheumatologists in the Rio Grande Valley testified at trial that they saw hundreds of patients previously diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis by that doctor who did not have the condition. That prompted one physician to explain that for most it was obvious that the patient did not have rheumatoid arthritis. The false diagnoses and powerful medications caused debilitating side effects, including strokes, necrosis of the jawbone, hair loss, liver damage, and pain so severe that basic tasks of everyday life such as bathing, cooking, and driving became difficult. As one patient testified, constantly being in bed and being unable to get up from bed alone and being pumped with medication, I didn't feel like my life had any meaning. One mother described how she felt that her child served as a lab rat, and others described abandoning plans for college or feeling like they were living a life in the body of an elderly person. Former employees detailed how the doctor imposed strict quotas for procedures, leading to a climate of fear. The doctor referred to himself as the eminencia, or eminence, through a paperweight at an employee who failed to generate enough unnecessary procedures. He hired employees he could manipulate because they were on a J-1 visa and their immigration status could be jeopardized if they lost their jobs, and fired those who challenged him. Testimony also revealed the doctor's obstruction of insurers' audits by fabricating missing patient files, including by taking ultrasounds of employees and using those images as documentation in the patient records. Testimony at trial established that the doctor told employees to apparser the missing records to make them appear. Former employees also recounted being sent to a dilapidated barn to attempt to retrieve records. Their files were saturated with feces and urine, rodents and termites that infested not only the records, but also the structure. Ew, that's the patient file. Ugh. Yuck. The doctor used proceeds from his crimes to fund a lavish lifestyle, replete with real estate properties across the country and in Mexico, a jet, and a Maserati. There's his jet. Let's see. Interesting, right? Okay, let's see what you say about this now. How horrible. So many people still think doctors are gods. Hello, L. Crazy, right? All right, next we have the New York Man. The one that went to feed his romantic rival 2 pigs. Yes, you heard me right. Pigs. Okay. Oh, that Virginia Giuffre, she died? I thought that was going on and on. Like they said she wasn't well, and then they said she was okay. Oh, she took her own life. Interesting. Okay. Let me get to my man with the pigs. Right here. Let me get his picture up here. Okay, his name is Gilles Sutherland. He paid a man to murder his romantic rival, who is the father of his ex-girlfriend's child. And then he wanted that man fed to pigs. So this is up near Albany and New Delhi. A New York man planned a murder-for-hire plot against his romantic rival, and he paid a man to murder his romantic rival, the father of his ex-girlfriend's child, and then feed the man's body to the hogs. He pled guilty on May 14th to using a federal commerce facility in a murder-for-hire plot, which carries a maximum term of 10 years. So let's look at this statement from the Justice Department. Gilles Sutherland, 57 years old, of Colony, New York, pled guilty to using an interstate commerce facility in a murder-for-hire scheme targeting a capital region man. U.S. Attorney John Sarcone III and Craig Tremaroli, special agent in charge of the Albany field office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, made the announcement. As detailed in Sutherland's plea agreement and an earlier filed criminal complaint, between November 2024 and January 2025, Sutherland used his cell phone to arrange the murder of a man who's the father of a child with Sutherland's then partner. As part of the plot, Sutherland agreed to forgive a debt of the person he hired to kill the victim. Sutherland also agreed to pay an undercover FBI agent, whom Sutherland believed to be a hog farmer, for use of a Pennsylvania farm to dispose of the victim by having pigs consume the body. Sutherland admitted that in late January 2025, he had another man put the carcass of a Canada goose on the doorstep of the victim's mother. When the dead bird was discovered, it had a threatening note stuffed in its beak that there had been written in Sutherland's direction. The intended victim was not harmed. The FBI arrested Sutherland on January 27th of 2025, and Sutherland has been in custody since his arrest. United States Attorney Sarcone stated that Jill Sutherland hatched a vicious plot to kill a romantic rival and intimidate the victim's family. When members of the FBI and my office learned of Sutherland's plans, they acted quickly and did not rest until Sutherland was brought to justice. FBI Special Agent in Charge Craig Tremoroli stated that Mr. Sutherland's diabolical plot intended to violently end a man's life and intimidate his family. Thanks to the swift actions taken by FBI Albany and our law enforcement partners, the plan never came to fruition, and Mr. Sutherland was quickly arrested and remains in custody. The FBI will continue to work with our partners at the United States Attorney's Office to aggressively pursue and hold accountable anyone looking to commit such egregious acts of violence in our communities. Sutherland faces up to 10 years in prison, a fine of $250,000, and a term of supervised release of up to 3 years when he is sentenced by the U.S. District Judge D. Agostino on September 22, 2025. A defendant's sentence is imposed by a judge based on the particular statute the defendant is charged with violating, the U.S. sentencing guidelines, and other factors. The FBI Capital District Safe Streets Gang Task Force investigated the case with assistance from the Colony Police Department. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Joshua Rosenthal and Joseph Hartunian are prosecuting this case. Okay. All right. So yeah, he's gonna feed him to pigs in Pennsylvania farm. All right. So, what do you think of that one? How cruel, says easily distracted. So many people still. What did you say? Still think. Oh, you're on there. Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy. All right. Okay, so now let's see. There is no clickbait. Let's see what else is going on. I covered everything I said I was going to, but let's see what else is going on. Let's see what else. Okay, we covered all that. So we're going to look at some other stuff that's going on. In other news, Duck Dynasty star Phil Robertson, you know, he's died after being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Passenger attempted to open an airplane door mid-flight. Great. What is going on? Parents call for action after their son took his own life following eye surgery. What is that about? Ow, ow, ow. Hold on a minute. I've got a cramp. Ouch. Okay. All right, let's see here. Their 26-year-old son was, laser eye surgery, debilitating effects, and took his own life. Yikes. When did this happen? Reno Air Show disaster? When did that happen? Recently? The Reno... Yikes. Hold on. That's crazy. All right. But that's not what I was trying to get to. Nine adults rescued from the biggest butter recalls of all time. Oh, of all time. Of all time. Common childhood virus could be silently fueling Alzheimer's disease and old age. What is that? It's going to be chickenpox? What is that going to be? Let me see. Quietly lives dormant. Oh, the common cold sore virus, which is often caught in childhood, usually stays in the body for life, quietly dormant in the nerves. Now and then, things like stress, illness, or injury can trigger it, bringing a cold sore in some people. But the same virus, called herpes simplex virus type 1, may also play an important role in something far more serious, Alzheimer's disease. Wow. It said they found that the cold sore virus can be present in the brains of older people, and it was first a clear sign that the virus could be quietly living in the brain, which was long thought to be completely germ-free, protected by the so-called blood-brain barrier. Then they discovered something even more striking. People who have a certain version of the gene that increases their risk of Alzheimer's and who have been infected with the virus have a risk that is many times greater. Okay. Huh. Actress Rosamund Pike punched in face during terrifying London street. What is that? Altercation crazy. Yeah, passenger experiencing a medical crisis attempts to open the plane door mid-flight. Hold on a second. Okay. Warnings issued for spice that can interfere with prescription medication. There's a new warning for Mexico travel. Flash flood warnings for 4 states as heavy rainfall hits. Fears grow as a new COVID strain emerges in the U.S. after cases surge in China. Great. What's going on with that now? The U.S. has reported the arrival of a new and potentially more contagious strain of COVID, following sharp rises in cases and hospitalizations in China and parts of Asia. The variant known as NB181 is believed to be behind a recent surge in infections and now been detected at multiple international airports across the United States. According to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, travelers from several Asian countries, as well as France, the Netherlands, and Spain, have tested positive for the strain upon entry. There is also evidence that NB181 is now spreading locally within the U.S. China has seen a dramatic spike in serious COVID cases in recent weeks, with the number of severely ill respiratory patients and the proportion of A&E patients testing positive almost doubling over the past month. Okay, let's see what else. The U.S. conducted voluntary nasal swabs at airports for those entering the country between April 22nd and May 12th. The new cases are said to have originated from travelers from China, Japan, Vietnam, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, France, the Netherlands, and Spain. Okay. "19 people injured after fight triggered crowd stampede during Memorial Day weekend." Listen to this one. Parkinson's disease linked to living near golf courses. What? Now, I didn't even look at this yet, but could it possibly be that living near golf courses is usually older individuals that may already have a higher prevalence of being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease? But I don't know. Let's see what this is about. This sounds crazy. Let's see. Researchers found that those living within a mile of golf courses have a 126% higher risk of developing Parkinson's disease than those who live more than 6 miles away. This is crazy. Okay. Areas that shared drinking water supplies with water used near golf courses were the most greatly impacted. Researchers believe this shows that the pesticides, okay, that makes sense now. The pesticides used on the golf courses could contribute to the amount of Parkinson's cases. Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease that's estimated to affect about 10 million people globally, about 1.1 million people in the United States, according to the Parkinson's Foundation. There is no cure, but treatments are available. Researchers use data of golf course locations throughout the U.S., along with data from the United States Geological Survey and 224 water service areas across 27 counties in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Data from 711 municipal wells provided by Minnesota Geospatial Information Office was also used to determine the correlation between proximity and prevalence of cases. During the study, 450 incident cases from 1991 to 2015 were identified in Olmsted County, Minnesota. The odds of Parkinson's disease were relatively constant within close proximity to a golf course, and they decreased linearly as distance increased. Individuals living farther from the golf course had reduced odds of Parkinson's disease, decreasing relative to the distance from the nearest golf course. Previous studies have already linked chemicals found in pesticides, including paraquat and rhodonine, to neurodegeneration, according to the study. The disease impacts the nervous system, causing symptoms such as tremors, slow movement, rigid muscles, among others, according to the Mayo Clinic. Parkinson's disease is believed to be caused by a combination of genetics and environmental factors, with men 1.25 times more likely to develop the disease. Oh boy. Okay. Researchers say more information is needed to further study the link between pesticides, golf courses, and the presence of Parkinson's disease. Boy, that's something, right? Well, I don't like pesticides anyway, but yeah. That is, let me see what you guys think about that. Anybody going to think about that? Nobody's. Hi, Slam RN. What do you think about that? Hello, Sassy Darcy. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Anybody? Anybody anywhere have any thoughts on that? Okay. Okay, I was just looking at something else that was... Netflix is adding 11 movies and series this week, and we have a goal running. If we reach our goal, we're going to have a movie night with our members and Patreons. And we could really use the support. We have a trial coming up July 7th. And we really need your support. Let me see here. Where did I just... something? There was something I was just looking at. I can't find it now. Flight diverted to Seattle after the passenger attempted to open the exit doors. Oh my gosh. Wild weather wreaks havoc on Memorial Day weekend across the U.S. Yes, it definitely is. Doesn't even feel like Memorial Day weekend, I'll tell you that much. Linens and things, I forgot that. I was just looking for something that I wanted to talk to you about. Okay, let's take a look. I guess I'm not going to find that. All right, forget that. There was something I wanted to tell you about, but that's not coming up there so that I can tell you about that. So I'm going to go off something else. Something else. Okay. All right. Okay. Nothing there. So what we're going to do next, let me see here, is going to go and we're going to look at something. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this. I'm going to play the real estate game for a minute and see how this goes. All right, this is okay. I'm going to show this to you now. This is in North Carolina. Put that up there. Hang on. Okay, so this is, let me get this, what this is now. This is a stunning historic Harris Curran house, aka Seven Gables, listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It's offered for sale, including most furnishings. It was lovingly restored in 1990. It's 4,034 square feet, Queen Anne style. 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It's decorated with period antiques that would be perfect for single-family home, wedding events, or as a B&B. It's on 10 acres. The gardens surrounding the home were designed and built by the previous owners, including arbors, pergolas, and a gazebo. Okay, and it's on 10 acres. So keep that in mind, and we'll look at the pictures. There's the house. Hold on, I just want to get where I can see you guys. There we go. Seven Gables. And remember, the house is filled with a lot of period antiques and is being sold furnished. Hi, Justina. That's a cool rug. The shiplap there, I like that. Look into the kitchen with the gingerbread they have there, and it's bright and white over there. That looks nice. Oh, that looks like a bunch of seashells, right? See? I'm immediately drawn to seashells. I see them. They follow me. I know where they are. And that's nice. There's the gazebo. A little rooster over here. Oh, and the rooster on top of the clock, and the rooster's over there. There's another little kitchen. The butler's pantry. Not the monkey. Look at the dollhouse. Oh my gosh, look at the dollhouse. I wonder if that was made to try to look like their house. Okay, how much do you think that house is? How much do you think it is? How much? It's on 10 acres, North Carolina, Granville County. How much is that doggy in the window? Victoria says 1 million. Where's all our other peeps playing the game? Where's Al? I thought this was your favorite game, Al. Linda, you're not playing? Slam RN, you're not playing? Tina, you're not playing? Easily distracted tree dog, you're not playing? Come on, guys, what do you want to do? What would you like to do? Because apparently I'm not doing what you want to do. Hello? $1.5 million, Tina? I don't mind looking at homes. Yeah, I know, Victoria. We used to have a lot of people involved. I don't know where everybody is. It's all right. We're having a good time. The amount is 740,000. Wow, that's a bargain. Yeah, I know it seems like a bargain to me too. It seems really good. Good deal. 10 acres. 10 acres. In North Carolina, Linda. It's in North Carolina. Where's Elle? Elle was here for a minute. This is supposed to be your favorite game, Elle. Scooter, it's Bink. Where are you guys? Little lady. In your what is it? In my steal a house sale for 1.6 million and is a small block and the house is tiny. Oh, on your street, a house sold for 1.6 million and is a small block and the house is tiny. I say, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone that doesn't have a channel membership, I hate to say, but I really would promote the channel memberships. They really help the channel and they really help support the channel. And we have a lot of things coming up, including a trial on July 7th. And so channel membership is something you might consider. They're very affordable and they really help the channel. And we do have a goal going up there. Was hoping to reach that and have a movie night or something. It needed work too? Yeah. Okay, I don't know what else, what do you want to do now? I mean, we could, I don't know, deep dive into a true crime case, or we could go over the case of Diane Downs, or another older case. Or we could play the real estate game, or we could open up the panel, or we could, I don't know. Anybody have any input? Time is 12:43. Maybe everyone has gone to sleep. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, hang on a minute, let me see. Let me see here. My aunt turned 100 today. Happy birthday. Okay, let me see here. Well, maybe I'll just open up the panel and see if somebody wants to come up or something. I don't know. Let me try to see about that. All right, let's see here. Let me put the Zoom link in Slack. All right, let me go back to the, what is up? Hello there, Gail. How are you? How's it going? All right, let's just start the case of Diane Downs. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to just do. I'm trying to ask for some input. What you guys want to do? Trying to do. Let's do it. Okay, Diane Downs. She actually, I believe, filed for an appeal recently, like last year or something. I was doing a little research on it today. Yeah, she, when was this? Or she applies for parole again. It was May of 1983. And she looks, not familiar, but she looked very much like a lot of those women back there at that time. That was 1984. That in May of 1983, Diane Downs shot her 3 children, and then she shot herself in the arm to make it look like she was the victim of a carjacking. But 2 of her children survived, which she didn't count on. And for years before that, she probably looked like she had the greatest life. She was married to her high school sweetheart. She was working part-time at a local thrift store, and she had 3 children, Christy Ann, Cheryl Lynn, and Stephen Daniel. But then in 1983, that all came to a grinding halt. In 1980, her husband, Stephen, divorced her after he became convinced that the youngest, Danny, wasn't his son. Diane Downs tried to become a surrogate, but failed when the psychiatric tests indicated signs of psychosis. She found a new lover and found some happiness in that until he left her because of her children. So then, of course, she decided to murder them so that she could be with the new love interest. On May 19th of 1983, she pulled over to the side of a rural road in Springfield, Oregon, and she shot her kids multiple times with a .22 caliber pistol, and then she fired a round into her own arm. After that, she drove to the hospital, and she claimed that a bushy-haired stranger had assaulted her family during a terrifying carjacking. 7-year-old Cheryl was dead. 3-year-old Danny was paralyzed from the waist down. He was 3. And 8-year-old Christy suffered a stroke that impaired her speech. That is until Christy recovered and told them who shot her. So Diane Downs was born August 7th, 1955. So she's going to be 70. Wow. In Phoenix, Arizona. Elizabeth Diane Downs. She appeared to have a normal childhood. However, she was being essayed by her father, Wesley Linden, as early as the age of 12, while he and her mother portrayed themselves as upstanding conservatives. A freshman at Moon Valley High School, she dressed like a grown woman of the 1960s. She dated older boys, and one of them was Stephen Downs, from whom she became inseparable. They roamed the streets of Phoenix looking for fun. The two would graduate together, but briefly drift apart when Diane enrolled at the Pacific Coast Baptist Bible College in Orange, California, and Steve Downs enlisted in the U.S. Navy. But he was expelled after a year for promiscuous behavior, and they reunited in Arizona and got married November 13th of 1973. Almost immediately, their relationship suffered. They regularly argued about finances. They fought over alleged infidelities. And into this environment, Christy, Cheryl Lynn, and Stephen Daniel Danny were born in 1974, 1976, and 1979. By the time Danny was born, there were arguments over infidelities, and they became so intense that Stephen became convinced that Danny was not his son. And they were incapable of pulling it together and reconciling, so they divorced in 1980. She was 25 years old, and she tried hard to become a surrogate. I'm wondering why she so hard to do that. Was that like a job of choice for her? But failed her psychiatric test twice. And here's a picture of her back in the day with her kids. She became increasingly negligent with her children. She often left them with her parents or her ex-husband without any notice or much notice. And she was more interested not in her children, but seeking the attention and the affection of men. Her children were often seemed that they hadn't been eating well, and they weren't dressed well, or they were dressed in dirty clothes, and she would routinely leave the oldest in charge of the two younger kids when she was only 6 years old. In 1981, a year after the divorce, she met Robert Nick Knickerbocker, and she just became entranced in that affair. You know, it seemed to take all of her problems away. He was married. Knickerbocker was. Nick Knickerbocker. Robert Nick Knickerbocker. And he felt her kids were just too many strings. He told her he had no interest in being a father, and he ended it with her. Within 2 years, she would attempt to get rid of her children in order to regain his affection. So 2 years, and she still wasn't thinking clearly, right? She's still thinking like, well, let me just get rid of these kids. Okay, and here is a picture of her in 2018 from the Oregon Department of Corrections. There we go. Okay, in April of 1983, Diane moved to Springfield, Oregon, and got a job as a postal worker. On May 19th, 1983, that was just a month after, she drove her children down Old Mohawk Road that was just outside of town, pulled over on the side of the road, shot each of her kids with a .22 caliber pistol. After shooting herself in the arm, she drives to the hospital at a very, very slow pace. The driver told police it couldn't have been more than about 5 miles per hour. Dr. Stephen Wilhite had his beeper go off. He rushed back to the emergency, and he recalled thinking Christy was dead. He saved her life and updated Downs to suspicious results. Not one tear, he said. You know, she just asked, "How is she doing?" Not one emotional reaction. She said things to me like, "Boy, this has really spoiled my vacation." And she said, "That really ruined my new car, and I got blood all over the back of it." I knew within 30 minutes of talking with that woman that she was guilty. She lied and told them, investigators, she didn't own a gun. But a search warrant revealed otherwise. Police also found her diary, which was filled with references to Knickerbocker and his hesitancy about their relationship. The witnesses who saw her drive slowly after the shooting only furthered their suspicions. She was arrested on February 28, 1984, and when Christy regained her speech, the facts were clear. When asked who shot her, the little girl replied simply, "My mom." Diane Downs had tried to murder her own kids and driven slowly to the hospital in hopes they would bleed out. In 1984, Diane Downs was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Let's see here. There is actually a group that wants to free Diane Downs. Yeah. Believable, right? Okay, so where are her children now? Let's see, where are her children now? They survived, although Christy suffered a stroke and Danny was paralyzed from the waist down. So where are they now? Christy testified against her mother during the trial. She went on to graduate from college, and she got married and she started her own family, including a daughter she named after her late sister, Cheryl. She's said to be living a happy and private life with her husband and kids in Oregon. And Danny was adopted along with his sister Christy by the prosecuting attorney. Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. Prosecuting attorney adopted the two kids. And like his sister, Danny also went on to graduate from college and live a happy and private life. It's unclear where he ended up, but he was known to be a whiz with computers. I always thought that something happened, that they adopted them, and I thought something happened to them. I don't know, but that's good. That I forgot about that until I just read that. I know it, but then like it just jogged my memory again. Let's see, who is Becky Babcock? Before Downs sentencing. Oh, wait a minute. She gave birth to a baby girl? Hey, wait a second. Who is Amy? Amy, she gave birth before her sentencing in June of 1984. She gave birth to a baby girl named Amy Elizabeth. Who was the father? The state took her and brought her to the Babcock family, who adopted Amy and renamed her Rebecca Babcock. She is the only one among the kids who has ever come forward to discuss her life and the trauma of being the daughter of a killer. My childhood was of dreams, and we had every opportunity that she wanted. My parents wanted us to prosper, to learn, and to grow, she said. She's the life Babcock ended up with was markedly different than the one she escaped from. She is a behavioral health coordinator for children in Salem, Oregon. She also breeds dogs. She breeds dogs. Oh, listen to this. She runs Capital Doodles with her daughter. I think I looked her up once when we heard about this. As a hobby that is rooted in bringing joy to others. They make sure to potty train and socialize each puppy and send them home fully vaccinated and ready for love. Huh, isn't that interesting? So who was her father? Let's look at who the father was of Diane Downs' baby. How did she get pregnant? Hold on a moment. Let's see here. Let me look up. Capital Doodles or a lot. Capital Doodles. They are golden doodle and cockapoo puppies. Okay, let's see. Well, let's see. April 24th. This is, hi friends, we have one spot open for our upcoming Mini golden doodle litter. Message me if you have any questions. So cute. I have a cockapoo from Rebecca, and she is the greatest. Okay. Okay, so that's Diane Downs' daughter who's raising those dogs. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? But I want to see who her dad is. Who did Diane Downs get with? Delivering to Denver. Rebecca's experience. Our puppies are raised at home and very loved. It's a hobby my 14-year-old daughter and I do together. Well, wait a second. She was born in what? Wait, when was she born? In 84? Okay. Okay, so let's go and see who her dad is. Who is the father of Diane Downs' fourth child? Her biological father was a reporter that Diane Downs had an affair with before her arrest. However, Downs has denied that Becky is her child. What? What? How could she deny that Becky is her child? The biological daughter of Diane Downs. She gave birth to Becky after she was convicted of killing her daughter and wounding her two other children. Becky's adopted parents named her Rebecca Christine Babcock. Becky's biological father was a reporter Downs had an affair with before her arrest. However, Downs has denied repeatedly that Becky is her child. What? This is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let me see here. Okay. All right, so that was Diane Downs. I opened up Zoom. We have met zero of our 10 of our goal tonight. Way to go, us. Let's see. All right. Let's look at what they said is new to Netflix, just in case there's some miraculous way we make our goal. We'll see. I saw there was some new stuff that they said was added, so let's take a look. All right, let's see what we've got here. Okay, 9 new top movies it says you need to watch this Memorial Day. Let's see what it said we need. Sirens, it says. The limited series hands you a chilled glass of rosé and then it knocks it out of your hand with a smile. It's created by Molly Smith Metzler. The dark comedy stars Julianne Moore as Michaela, a magnetic socialite with a penchant for being controlling, and Megan Fahey as the sister desperate to pull her sister Millie out of Michaela's unsettling orbit. Set over one wild weekend at a lavish beach estate, Sirens is a sharp, sexy, and just the right amount of unhinged. Come for the coastal charm and yacht club gossip, and stay for the mind games and shifting power plays. That sounds fun. 9 Perfect Strangers. Didn't we watch the first season of that? Wasn't that when 9 Perfect Strangers, wasn't that when Megan, the lady that normally does comedies, was there? 9 new guests, 1 mysterious guru, and literally 0-degree chill. The mystery drama from David E. Kelly. Oh, it is from David E. Kelly. Based on Leanne Moriarty's novel, is back with Nicole Kidman once again transforming into the enigmatic Masha Dmitrichenko. This time, Masha is running a mind-bending wellness retreat in the frozen Austrian Alps. Her hand-picked attendees, selected under strange and possible suspicious circumstances, soon realize they've signed up for something far more intense than meditation and massages. Season 2 brings a stacked cast, including Christine Baranski, Annie Murphy, and Henry Golding. Episodes 1 and 2 are available on Hulu. And then She the People, Tyler Perry, it's the Librarians, The Next Chapter, TNT. Okay, no. Fear Street, Prom Queen, it's a thriller, no. Mickey, 17, HBO. What else do we have here? Thought I heard somebody trying to get into. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, dust storm. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I guess it's Madeline Mogan's birthday today. Happy heavenly birthday. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna do the word cookie, right? And then we will just call it the night that it is. Let's see. Sorry to hear that, Gail. Oh, heart made wise. Okay, there we go, Fern. All right. Okay, I think I'm just gonna call it a night. Sorry, guys. We'll try to do something, I don't know, more interesting tomorrow. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Or maybe. I don't know. Or maybe. Maybe, right? Or maybe. Maybe not. And that can mean a lot of things. Just maybe. Good night, everybody. God bless. And just maybe, take it easy.